it. And Jimmy's like, I'll trade my only good player. Cowboys now have like 7 great young players and one of the top 3 offensive lines. It was also back then a running back league, way more than now, where it's a wide receiver, quarterback, offensive line league. Stop living in fear. I'm not dealing with this nonsense. Every offseason, it's another judicial issue. 2 years out, you're threatening to hold out of camp. I'm done. Bad judgment. I'm out. I'm done. I'm not going to be held hostage by it. Everybody in this league tells me, you got to sign this, you got to... No. In the NBA, you got to get Kawhi Leonard. Okay, yes. In the NBA, you got to get Anthony Davis if you're the Lakers. There are a lot... In the NBA, there's about 6 you got to haves. Golden State, you got to keep Steph and Clay. There's some got to haves. Outside of a handful of quarterbacks in the NFL, there's not a lot of got to haves. J.J. Watt was the best defensive player in this league for about 5 years. His production never equaled wins. OBJ, next to Randy Moss, maybe the most talented receiver in NFL history. His 6 biggest games are 1 and 5. Here's what you got to have in the NFL. You got to have the confidence in your coaching staff and the confidence in your system that you don't got to have anybody except a very good quarterback. Which, by the way, that's just rules. That's just the way the rules are. The rules are now, if you have a good quarterback, he completes 67%, you win a bunch of games. If you have a bad one, you don't make the playoffs. New England, Philadelphia, never held hostage by an individual running back. But they pay Carson Wentz and Tom Brady a bunch of money. Okay, this is nonsense. Again, the NBA's got some gotta-haves. NFL, not many. And Zeke is not a gotta-have. And again, I'll say this. Jimmy Johnson did this in Dallas when it was more of a running back league, when he didn't have anybody else, and it got a lot of pushback, and you all said he was crazy. And it is the singular reason the Cowboys dynasty was created. I could give you a team to call. Call the Houston Texans. Call the Houston Texans. Say, you give us Lamar Miller and a couple of first-round picks, you have Zeke. Zeke's carries, yards per carry will go down at least a yard per game. Watch. Houston Texans need a running back. Cowboys, bring in Lamar Miller. You know, he's a guy that averages 3 yards a carry. Behind the Cowboy O-line, he'll be 3.8 to 4.1. Zeke averages 4.5 a carry. Watch his go down to 3.5. There's no running back in this league that can do it without help. You can't run in a box with no players. The Cowboy offensive line is one of the reasons Zeke is getting these numbers. Now, Zeke is great, and I'm not denying it. But his trade value will never be higher than this morning. You really think sign him to a 4-year deal? There'll be no more judicial issues, no nonsense, no bad judgment. You think in 4 years he'll be better than today? I mean, if you want to sign him, you better front load the contract because these running backs hit a cliff after about that 6th year of carrying the ball, especially after they were big carry guys in college for a couple of years. Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. Go ahead, sign him. But you got a bunch of great young players. They're all mature. You need all of them. You got one great corner. He's young and talented and mature. You better sign him. You have a pass rusher. You signed him. You got 2 great linebackers. I'd sign both. You watch the NFL right now, you need speed at linebacker. You have the best linebacker. I want to sign both. I got to re-sign 1 or 2 of those offensive linemen. I want to keep Amari Cooper. I'm not giving up Dak. Well, you going to feed everybody? And the little secret on this, if you let Zeke go, Dak plays without Zeke, Dak's numbers compress, and I may not have to pay him $35 million. I may get down to 27. It sounds crazy. It sounds nuts. I'm going to take a deep breath and just stew in my brilliance for 4 seconds. I do understand the argument that Zeke is special. So was Todd Gurley, and the Rams now privately regret the deal. So was Adrian Peterson. So was Herschel Walker. The NFL is about making brutally tough decisions. That's what it's about. In the NBA, it's pretty obvious. You're going to sign James Harden. You just can't let him go for like 6 years. You just can't. Anthony Davis. There's a lot of obvious decisions in the NBA. This guy's obviously old. This guy can't defend. In the NFL, you have to look at great players sometimes and go, that position's fillable. The NBA is not. You think about the NBA. You have 2 rounds. Historically, after about the 13th pick, you run out of stars, and stars run the league. In the NFL, half the league is undrafted. Your brother, Joy, Jason Taylor, where was he drafted?
3rd round.
Okay, 3rd round, Hall of Famer. The Chargers once had a draft where they got Antonio Gates as an unrestricted free agent, undrafted, and I think it may have been Nick Chadwick, the offensive lineman. They got 2 players in a draft after the draft was done, and they both became Pro Bowlers. It doesn't work that way. It's not the way it works in basketball. In football, you're making brutally tough choices and letting go of great players regularly.
Look what the Steelers did this year.
Antonio Brown. It's just like
and Le'Veon Bell.
And in both instances, they're like James Conner's 70% of Le'Veon, and Juju Smith-Schuster's probably 75% of. That's just the NFL. You got to get comfortable with being cut. The Colts let go of Peyton Manning. He was still good. Packers let go of Favre. Niners let go of Joe Montana. Those are quarterbacks. So the idea that Zeke, you can't let him go. No, yeah, you can. What are you going to get back? If I can get 2 first rounds and a B-level back, you let him go. And you move. By the way, the Chargers are in the same situation. And Melvin Gordon's averaging 5 yards a carry. Yeah, Austin Eckler averages 5 yards a carry for the Chargers. And Newsome and Justin Jackson average 4 to 4.5 yards a carry. So I'm not saying Melvin Gordon's not worth the money, because right now he wants a new deal. I'm not saying he's not worth the money. What I'm saying is, since Anthony Lynn arrived for the Chargers, all their running backs average 4.5 to 5 yards a carry. Salary cap league, what's the value? It's not about, is Zeke great? Answer is yes. We got a lot of mouths to feed. This is a young team, and I'm not letting go of Jones, the corner, those linebackers, Dak. I mean, I guess you could let go of Amari Cooper, but I like Amari Cooper. I like him. Now, Goulet, you're a huge Cowboy fan. When I propose this, you can just say it. I will not dismiss you from your employment. What do you am I loon? Am I crazy? Am I totally off my rocker?
Maybe not totally. I agree with you on the value of the running back position, but in one of the scenarios you've painted, they would really not have a running back and potentially not a quarterback for next season. So you just have all these pieces.
No, I'd have Dak.
That's what scares me.
You don't like Dak at all.
I don't think Dak is worth the money. I'd rather it go to Zeke. Zeke, you can't argue, is not top 2 at his position. I think Dak, you would have a tough time arguing he's top 15 at his.
All right. Just laid it out there. Hey, I feel strongly about stuff. Sometimes right, sometimes not. TJ Hushmanzada will join us coming up. We've been telling you about M-Drive for a long, long time. It's a product that was created by a man named Gary, who's a scientist in Arizona.